Hey guys, this is Luke again, and welcome back to the channel again. Um, so, uh, we're how in the whole midst of the COPPA issue. Well, we got an update. Finally, after way too long of not getting anything, we finally got an update to COPPA. And this was in a tweet by TJ Niner. I believe that's the user's name. So TJ Niner, this was from the FTC themselves, okay? And and it says under COPPA there is no one size fits all answer about what makes a site directed to children, but we can offer some guidance. To be clear, your content isn't considered directed to children just because some children may see it. However, if your intended audience is kids under 13, you're covered by COPPA and have to honor the rules requirements. So basically, what that means is, let's say I'm making Ninjago content. Yeah, kids may see it, but is it my intended audience? Probably not. Considering, um, yeah, Ninjago is for kids, but I'll get to that in a second about this. I'll get to that in a second about what Ninjago. The rules sets out additional factors that the FTC will consider in determining whether your content is child directed. The subject matter, visual content, the use of animated characters or child orientated activities or incentives, the kind of music or audio content, the age of models, the presence of child celebrities or celebrities who appeal to children, language or other characteristics of the site, and whether advertising that promotes or appears on the site is directed to children. So, okay, I guess. So now this is the other page, which is this. The determination of whether content is child directed will be clearer in some contexts than in others, but we can share some general rules of thumb. First, unless you're affirmatively targeting kids, there are many subject matter categories where you don't have to worry about COPPA. For example, if your videos are traditionally about adult activities like employment, finances, politics, home ownership, home improvement, or travel, you're probably not covered unless your content is geared towards kids. The same would be true for videos aimed at high school or college students. On the other hand, if your content includes traditional children's pastimes or activities, it may be child directed. For example, the FTC recently determined that an online dress up game was child directed. Second, and this is what the person TJ99 um, highlighted. Just because your video has bright colors or animated characters doesn't mean you're automatically covered by COPPA. While many animated shows are directed to kids, the FTC recognizes that there can be animated programming that appeals to everyone. So, does this mean that Ninjago is safe? I'm not entirely sure because it also mentions that that the network that airs Ninjago, Cartoon Network, or at least here in the United States, Cartoon Network is made for children under the age of 13. So that sort of leaves me a little confused because yes, CN airs it, but I don't think CN is technically not Ninjago is technically CN show. It wasn't made by CN. It was made by Lego, and hopefully Lego is marked as all ages and not just for kids because that's the reality of it. Lego is for all ages. You've seen adults with Legos before, um, which automatically proves my point that it's not just for kids. So maybe we're safe, but take what I said with a grain of salt, okay? So hopefully, um, and I even put my own comment to the FTC about it in a nice and respectful manner. I mentioned that there were some shows that clearly are for teens and above, like The Simpsons, Family Guy, South Park, three examples right there, and that there's a lot of anime shows made just for kids. I'm not going to go into the examples there. And then there are some animated shows that are in between, where they can appeal to kids, but they can have an older audience as well. And Ninjago, I believe, is in that little bit of in the middle, where it can appeal to kids, but it can appeal to an older audience as well. So hopefully the FTC clarifies that little middle ground a bit more, to see if that would qualify as a made for kids content and not for kids. So I also told him about gaming and how not all games are made for children, and also depend. And I've also considered the fact of is if I make a video on a game, would the type of game, like if I play like a puzzle game, would that be marked as for kids? Which I know Call of Duty will not be marked for kids, considering it's about shooting people. But like, does it matter based on the game, or does it matter based off like the context of which the game is played? Like, if I play it, like if I swear in the video or something like that, then does that mean that it's automatically not kid friendly? Despite me playing a child friendly game, those questions are yet unanswered. But I will say this: this is a step in the right direction. Do I think COPPA isn't bad still? In a way, yeah, but at least it's not as bad as it was a few weeks ago, where it just became an all kids regimen. Now we're sort of having some wiggle room. Okay, we're having some wiggle room. Hopefully, in the upcoming months, we can get more information, more updates about what qualifies as kids content and what doesn't qualify. And hopefully Ninjago content. I really don't care if it does qualify as kids, because I would understand why, but I will also be happy if it doesn't qualify, because in a way it's in the middle. And also it really depends on the context of the video itself. Like, I made a theory video about Vex possibly being bullied. Bullying is a heavy subject, and it's definitely that subject is definitely not geared toward kids. But because it's in a show, a Lego show, I feared that was going to be made for kids, despite the context. So context matters and interpretation matters. So hopefully the FTC can recognize that that this middle ground where Ninjago lies, and hopefully if I do more gaming, I hopefully um, it'll elaborate on that as well. But this is a step in the right direction. I'm glad the FTC cleared things up. They just need to do a bit more of that, and they just need to do a bit more, and hopefully we can breathe a sigh of relief going into 2020 that we're okay. But anyway, I hope you guys liked this video. Give it a thumbs up, subscribe to the channel by clicking on that red subscribe button, and click on the notification bell to see every video that I will upload. And I'll see you folks in the next video. And make sure to click on the link down below to not file your complaint, but to add your nice and respectful comment to the FTC about this situation. But anyways, I'll see you guys next time. Bye bye.